Oh, here he goes.
Go.
Good?
That's a big fish.
Full hand on tail. Yeah, it looks sick. Good deal.
Look how broad that thing is.
I wonder if that was the one that followed me in.
Beautiful. Oh my. That's a big
That's a
fish.
big fish, dude.
Shrimp.
That's what I've been doing for all day.
That's over 6.
Felt that bite.
Damn, I think low and slow is the way to go, eh, baby?
First big of the year on.
The thing I'm about to tie on.
Get him, get him.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Calm down. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here.
Yeah, dude!
Dude.
6 pounds, 11 ounces.
Oh my god, please get the net. Please, 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 please get the net.
I got you, buddy. Oh my god. I got you.
That was the weirdest bite ever. Oop. That was a good one? Yep.
Sure, feels like it.
Sure is.
I can't turn her head, bud. Holy shit. What the? Is that another 6?
Could be.
The second giant of the day, proving that point. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Big baits, big fish. There we go, 5 pounds, 6 ounces. Beauty! Let's go. Got him. Get in here, you. There's another 6. You! That's a big fish.
6'10". Woo-hoo-hoo. Little fatty.
Oh my god.
If I can land this fish.
Holy sh! 5.06. Sick. Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy sh! God. What a beast.
Hey,
Dude, that's it, that's it! I'm 4 pounds smaller. I need a picture. Sorry.
oh wow. That might be a 4. That might be a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. You guys show that off too. 4 pounds, 12 ounces. Holy. Trailers, what's getting it done? Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, that's unbelievable. That's a 4.
He's still swimming.
There we go. That's a big fish. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes! 414 though. Gee. Not too shabby.
Good evening, everybody. How the hell is everybody doing? I need to... Donk, donk, donk. Ah, dude, I think that those little rubber dubers actually worked out really well on the mics. You really can't see the sound spikes like you used to be able to, which is good. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Bob, Gordy, Kevin, and Kevin again. Cheryl, Drew, MD, Z20. How's everybody doing on this fine Wednesday evening? And Drew, I'm very happy to see you finally got out. It's awesome, man. We gotta hook up out there still soon. There is a spot that you and I have talked about that he still hasn't fished yet.
I fished it once through the ice.
So he hasn't fished it yet. We need to take him there, and we'll all get out. Hey, Tammy and Luke Goblin. So tonight should be a fun night. We're gonna talk a lot about power fishing, which is something we do a lot of. It's kind of like kitchen sink fishing, but with more intent, if that makes sense.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much throw everything to get a bite.
I mean, kind of. That's more like kitchen sink. Power fishing, it's like, I know I can cover water really thoroughly and effectively with these go-to baits at this time of the year, which we have quite a few that we can cover for a variety of different conditions and both largemouth and smallmouth. So that's kind of the plan tonight. A little rattle in there. Let's jump in. Mark, Ben, I saw you left me a message or two. I got to get to that, buddy. And my condolences. I'm very sorry to hear about your grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
Drew,
It's a bummer.
Chris, you're doing good. Everybody doing good. You guys been throwing a bunch of swim baits. Yeah. I've got 2 good fish now. Actually, my 2 biggest fish of the year have come on big baits. That dude got my biggest so far, 6'10". And then my second biggest was a 4'10" largie on the 9-inch shad glide from Bull Shad. The big bait bite has been good to me so far this season.
I'm behind.
Just a little. Yeah, but you know how that's going to go. I know how that's going to go because I've witnessed it every goddamn year. Where I know the moment I get ahead, it's like, you look back in the rearview mirror, and that thing, objects and mirrors are closer than they appear, and you see Andrew.
Here I come.
But he's got like 2 glides and a freaking jig. Running up behind me. Yeah, that's a Citizen. Working Class 0 Citizen 6 on that one. For the life of me, I can't remember what color it is, but that's my favorite. That's my go-to. I had
Is that
yours.
the Keith's color?
I think it might be. It's like perfect. Nice dark color. Little transit, well, kind of clear, like a light gray up on top. Black flake all through it. Black belly. Like, I really like that. And I had, now the rest are in the boat. But we're going to cover that. We're going to cover that a lot today. That was loud. I'm sorry. What else? Who else is in the chat? I caught 2 fish last weekend, solid £1.5 bag. Hey, better than not catching anything, so there you go. Stratnut Custom Calls. Put that up there. Howdy, guys. Could have been slow for me lately, throwing everything I can think of. Water temp varies so much from spot to spot. So that's actually something we can cover based on our weekend fishing report. Let you start with the weekend fishing report, and that's going to answer that exact situation, I think.
Go. Oh, we went to some small place in Maine.
Vermont.
Wrong way. In Vermont. Southern Vermont. We'd never been there. We talked to one of our good buddies who lives in Vermont, and he said it should be good.
Wait, why can't... Oh, I see what happened. Okay, sorry. Don't keep going. I was like, I'm looking at number 2 on the microphone. I'm like, why are you not doing anything? But you're plugged into number 4.
Oh.
My bad.
And
Continue.
we went in the intent of just catching fish. We didn't know much about this place, but
Barely
we
anything.
knew that it had trout, and a lot of them, because they were literally everywhere, and they're all big.
Like,
Yes, all giants, and they're all big rainbows. And water temp, we had no idea what it was going to be. We showed up, the water was super clean, place looked really, really good. Ended up finding most of our fish up kind of shallow. Actually, no, they were all super shallow.
no, super shallow.
Super
like
shallow.
3 feet or less.
Or they're in timber. Or pretty much anywhere where there was shade. So I'm guessing it was post-spawn, but at the same time, we can't really tell because we didn't really see any beds anywhere besides one fish that was on a bed, and it was giant. But other than that, we just kind of threw jigs and glides and mag drafts and moving baits of all sorts, and drop shots, and literally everything. Hugh started the day off with, what, a 3 3/4?
Yeah, 310, and it was a largemouth. We bounced around a little bit. I take that back. We worked down one shoreline where we saw a lot of timber, and nada, like literally nothing playing. So we looked over and like, oh, there's a rock pile over there. Let's go over there. So we did, and Andrew spotted it. Good sized largemouth just roaming. Everybody threw at him. He nipped at Andrew's drop shot really quick, and you stooped down, I think, to get a glide. And I had an open water sniper in my hand, so I just pitched it in front of his face, and he was just like, whoop,
Blop.
and then just plucked him basically. Maybe not plucked him. He wasn't on a bed. He was just cruising in the shallow rocks. And I ended up tricking him with that sniper, like literally from right below my feet. If he was more than a foot off the boat, then I would have been shocked. He was like straight down, and we were in 3 feet of water.
Yeah, he was literally right there.
It was pretty fun.
But then we kind of fell on a pattern where everything was up in the timber or under, I wouldn't say everything under docks because I only got one fish under a dock. But it was a good one. It skipped one of Gordy's custom jigs up underneath a dock from pretty far away.
Yeah, you did.
It was I was pretty
skip.
impressed with my own skip. And I reeled in the slack, and as soon as I reeled it in, I just felt a thump, and I set the hook, came out, its head was huge. And then...
Do you need the net? I'm saying yes! The guy that never calls for a net yells, I'm saying yes!
Yeah, well, guess what? Yeah, but what happened?
Boat flipped it
Still
anyway.
boat flipped it.
It took too long of a net.
I don't even know. I don't remember how big it was.
410.
410. So it was a good one. It really wasn't much to
Dude, after that, it sucked. There's no other way to put it. It sucked.
There wasn't really a bite to figure out. It was just, besides they were up shallow under timber and in the shade.
And then they started fanning beds at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They either were fanning, or they were starting to dance, or they were staging up. Mm-hmm. It was weird. Like, the whole morning, we were looking for beds. So water temp there, and this is southern Vermont, pretty shallow pond. It was 64 to 66, I think it was, by the end of the day, because it was hot on Sunday. And we're the whole time we're up shallow. We're like, dude, where are the beds? Like, there should be beds here. If there's smallmouth, there's got to be beds. And we saw like 4 or 5. And it's not a tiny pond by any means. It's not huge. Perfectly medium sized, and like nothing. And then there was like a 2-hour lull where nothing happened. And we circled back around to an area that, when the morning was literally nothing there. And all of a sudden we saw bed, 2 fish coupled together doing the dance. It was like, oh, well, that'll explain why the bite just died. And like we got a little bit in the morning, and then nothing after that.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, it was fun day fishing.
Oh, yeah. No, it was a blast.
We brought Al out with us. Al, I don't know.
Lizard Al. I don't think he's in the chat yet.
He might not be. I think he's still on vacation, I believe.
I do believe you're correct.
But he spent pretty much all weekend, and probably still in Vermont, fishing his ass off. And
dude was everywhere.
Yeah, all over the place. But fishing report, shallow and timber.
Yeah.
Catch them on jigs. That's as much as I can really tell you.
So going through, I saw a ton of questions I want to get to really quick in the chat. But before I do that, for anybody that shared the stream prior to stream going live, thank you very much. I rarely post a video the same day that we do a stream, but I realized by like 12:30 in the morning today, I was like, I've still probably got about 2 hours left on this video. And that would have been accurate had it not been for Vegas crashing on me, no joke, at least 30 times, which was super frustrating. And even though I was hitting save like often, I would catch myself. There was like 4 or 5 times where I did a decent amount of changes that I didn't save and it crashed, which really pissed me off. So I finished that video at 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, nope. I get to the point where I'm like, I'm going to be a stubborn ass about this. I'm going to finish it. So I did. But I was like, then I realized, oh shit, it's Wednesday. This is when we do the stream. Whatever, we're going to roll both. Mm-hmm. So, but at any rate, anybody that shared both the video and the stream, thank you very much. For everybody that is here, though, do me a favor, please, just click like real quick. Just go down there, hover over it, give her a little click, and greatly appreciate you for doing that. Going through, I did see someone in there said what color it was. JP, thank you. I believe that color is called Goblin on that. Citizen, you are correct. And then Donk Swampy, hey. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then that was the other one. What's up with Citizen anyway? Has Mike Gilbert discontinued it for good, or is he redesigning it? Redesigning, as I understand it. Scott, what's up, fellas? Tuning in from a hotel in Michigan with a Bud Heavy Pounder in hand. I like it.
Jesus.
Hi, Fran. That's Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Crazy hick bait. David and Brian are in here. MD, this is a very sore topic of mine. We've covered this many a time. Yes, I dislike the fact that they only stock trout and completely neglect everything else, because their stance is, well, bass don't need help. They don't need help in Texas either, but it sure shit is helping with what they're doing. So there's that. Team Money went to northern Maine, crushed smallmouth last weekend. Water temp 52 to 58 over the 3 days. Caught about 125 over the 3 days between me and my dad. Average 2.5 to 3 pounds, biggest 311. Hell yeah. Dude, you can't be mad with that kind of average.
No, not at all.
I'm stoked for that. Chris, we actually just answered that, so you kind of get an idea as to what we were looking at for water temps. It warmed up fast. Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
Hi.
Luke Goblin, Northern Vermont, 54 2 weeks ago and 60 at the end of last week. Canadian border. Yep, I believe that, absolutely. Guggen Slayer, hey, friend. David Toll, anyone ever have a blade on an aluminum prop let go at speed? No, but I can imagine how scary that would be. That would suck. Passan, what's up? How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Passan.
Passan came up with us to Lake Champlain. Well, I say us, me. For the 2 days Andrew wasn't there. And we fished quite a bit. We did pretty good up there those 2 days. And then Andrew and I, just by sheer luck with timing, got to beat the absolute crap out of them on Saturday, day 3. That day 3 Champlain video took me a long time to edit, because there was just a lot of good conversation.
I watched
things
it.
That happened.
I watched it before I came over here.
It's because that's what friends are for. South Jersey.
You guys should
howdy.
watch it. It's actually a really good video.
So, with that all said and done, again, for anybody who dropped the like on the stream, thank you very, very, very much. That helps immensely. And, for people that watch this after the fact or listening on Spotify, like, especially on Spotify, if you leave a rating on that, like, that's huge. If you're watching it on YouTube after the fact, like, obviously dropping a like then, and even just, like, leaving a comment. Like, it's just little things like that that really have been helping drive growth on the channel. And I've talked about that a lot. But here's the other flip side of that. I've also noticed... I guess a disengagement in that, like likes, not likes, the amount of people like sharing streams and stuff, videos, and the number of comments have dropped off, and that growth pattern followed right with it. So it is what it is. Just kind of like illustrating that point of how much it helps the growth of what we do, just from something literally as simple as clicking like and just saying like nice video or whatever. Like it doesn't, I guess it does matter, but it doesn't matter. And again, I really am not saying that to pressure anybody. I like to elaborate because that's my dumbass engineer brain that I can't shut off. So there you go. There's direct correlation between that.
If I ever hit the lottery, I'm buying Lake
Champlain.
If I ever hit the lottery, I'm buying Lake Champlain.
Yeah.
And I'll just give you a house.
I love you.
You could just invest in real estate.
This joke will never die. Oh, all right. Let's talk summer power fishing. So, what the hell is power fishing? There is a couple of different ways you could look at it, but in my opinion, the gist of it is power fishing means you are quickly but efficiently and effectively covering water. How you do that, I think, is wide open. It's that method and mindset mentality that drives what power fishing is to me. So I know as we get into the post spawn pretty thoroughly here. Oh, and that was the question I saw up earlier about how it was like really tough and everything. Guarantee you it was probably within 2 weeks after all the largemouth vacated beds. That 2 week window, I'm sure there's other people that figured it out. We have not. That 2 week window is the bane of my existence. I think that is at this point probably the toughest time of the year for us to figure out how to fish.
Probably just throwing wacky rigs out on flats.
Yeah, good point. That's one of the things we never do.
No.
But that first 2 weeks, like the moment like that huge last wave of fish leave beds, especially if you're like in a shallower, smaller body of water where like the vast majority of fish like all get it all done at the same time, like that 2 week the window sucks. It's always a struggle fest. So keep that in mind. But power fishing, again, to reiterate my point, it's quickly, effectively, and efficiently covering water with a variety of baits, but being able to tackle it from also a variety of different angles as well. Kind of a little added caveat to that. So what exactly do we mean by that? In my case, one of my favorite ways to power fish post-spawn, middle of summer or whatever, is I'm going to pick up, if there's wind, a spinnerbait. If not, no wind, then I'm going to pick up a chatterbait or a swim jig. And honestly, I'll probably have a swim jig tied on anyway. Be like swim jig with a swim bait on it, on one rod, and then either spinnerbait or jackhammer on the other one. That's my cover water fast, and I'm going to be able to cover a lot of water because I can bomb that thing. So that's step one. Then step two, I'm going to have something a little bit still kind of moving faster, but much, much more reactionary. Topwater, something like a whopper plopper, buzzbait. Not necessarily a frog. I want to cover water. Any one of 50 areas could be effective at this time of the year. Trying to unlock that, you have to go through them all pretty damn rapidly. So I need to be able to continuously move. As good as a frog can be, I can't cover water fast. So that's out. Something that's in moving topwater. Or even say something like a spook that you work really, really fast. That's in the cards. So you got subsurface moving, topwater moving, jig, but we're going to fish it fast. We're going to throw maybe a football, unless there's vegetation, then it's going to be something like the Vanquish from Beast Coast Fishing, which is an Arky head style, or their little Magnum, which is like a phenomenal vegetation kind of head. That's a
mop jig.
Oh yeah, Buckeye. I forget. I had that for Lake Champlain. And then square bill comes into action for kind of another subsurface one, but now you're like nice, clean, clear, hard bottom comp, clear structure all around. You're going to go through it. But, and then I'm also going to pick up something finesse, but that I can like, if it makes sense, like cover water fast. So in this case, a Nico rigged Senko. So I'm going to throw a little nail weight in there so it's going to fall fast, or a shaky head. That's one of my favorite ways to go.
Shaky head's fun.
So I'm going to have 2 different kinds of topwater. I'm going to have 2 different kinds of moving bait, maybe actually 3 or 4 kinds of moving baits, because by far and large, that's where like you can really get away with moving baits really, really consistently. And then I'm going to have 2 completely different ends of the spectrum for covering bottom contact stuff. I'm going to have a big jig, and I'm going to have something really finesse, whether it's that Nico Rig Senko or a shaky head. One other caveat, now we're talking like things that can move fast but also stay. Jerkbait, and a weightless Texas rig fluke, which you could alternate out for a Senko, but me, I'm going for a fluke because I can work that like a suspended jerkbait. And with the right size hook, based upon what kind of fluke you have, you can get that thing to actually glide down at a pretty good clip, but you can still work it erratically without having to come up to the surface and up and out. That covers the whole spectrum of what I consider to be my power fishing.
Pretty much. That's pretty much it. Stream over.
No added caveats?
Not really.
I will. All right, so let's throw a hypothetical.
I'll change it up in a little bit, and I'll start throwing bigger baits. Just if I want to cover water for the right fish, I'll start working a glide bait, but I'll work it a lot faster and just kind of pinpoint areas. Okay, there's a weed line there. I'll work down that entire weed line. Maybe I'll come back and work it again with like a chatterbait or something, and then I'll move on. Like that type of thing. Like just knowing that there's fish there that are gonna bite and putting something in front of their face that they can't resist. Mm-hmm. As quickly and as efficiently as possible to cover water and catch fish. And good fish too.
So this is kind of like danger zone because I could disregard everything everybody's saying in the chat, and the two of us could carry this conversation with us tonight, and we will if provided the opportunity. However, this is like a phenomenal time for you to start throwing questions at us as we go. Otherwise, we're just going to keep rolling. So don't feel bashful. If you have something you want to talk about specific to this or even somewhat related, throw it in the chat because that's what we are here for. I want to be able to answer these specific questions. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep rolling. So my question to you, if you're talking like just straight up moving bait, traditional tackle, the whole setup, not rod, reel, line, but the whole setup of the bait, like what are you throwing? Color, weight, sizes, skirt, no skirt, like whatever that calls for. Traditional. Where again, you're beating the piss out of it. You got smoke coming off your reel because you're just burning it back nonstop. Casting, you've got a 300-yard wide flat, and you're going to hit every freaking lily pad, rock, and stump that you see. Like 30 times, too. Skirt or no skirt? You're going to throw exactly that, or are you going to throw a skirted version?
I would like this, but with a skirt. But at the same time, I would like this exactly how it is. So maybe 2 of them.
And you're not wrong. It's one of those if...
We've killed it on both.
Oh, yeah.
At the exact same time. Whether the skirt or no skirt makes a difference. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. You're never going to know until you throw it and catch fish on it.
I am 110% in agreement with you. If we're in an area where the vegetation is pretty sparse, I will literally throw 2 jackhammers. I'll throw exactly what you're holding, and I'll throw something with a more traditional swim bait on the back and a skirted version. And more often than not, both of those I'm throwing a half ounce because I want to burn that bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you need a half ounce with that to get it down. This thing is going to catch so much water, and it's going to create such a slow fall when it gets in there, in the water. Or it's even better to have a half ounce, especially if you're throwing in around lily pads or grass or whatever. You want to get it down in that grass and work through it, not on top of it, or just keep getting stuck. If you start getting stuck, give it a good snap. Sometimes that's actually what gets the fish that triggers the fish to bite. So,
yep.
Don't be afraid to throw it in some thick grass.
Same thing with square bill or a lipless crankbait. Lipless, honorable mention. We did not bring it up in the initial offering, but that is something I will absolutely throw in the right conditions. That I'll wait for that when they start really kind of pulling out, and that's usually like right after the bluegill are done spawning, and the bulk of those bass come out off the shallow flats. They start working towards like that outside grass line. That's when a lipless really starts firing off for me again. Scott, I will highlight it for a brief moment. Tube kills them in the summer when they want something slow. 110% yes. I did not say that because I was saving that for the smallmouth portion of our power fishing tactics.
And Laker.
And I did forget to elaborate on that earlier to say everything I said was purely for largemouth. Smallmouth is a slightly different animal. We'll get to that. I did see this from MD though. Can't agree with anything finesse used for power fishing. To me, it's punching mats or jigs into heavy cover, powering them out. So like a lot of the ponds around me though, like you need something finesse like that to really kind of go through and like find a cleanup. Like we have a spot we affectionately dub 4-pound rock that like.
Which I have literally never caught a 4-pounder off.
And
the only
so
4-pounder, 4+ pounder I actually hooked into it, it ran around the other side and broke me off. So
oh yeah, I forgot
it's
about that.
3-pound rock for me.
But it's one of those rocks that like 90% of the time, all that power moving stuff, your traditional like power fishing tackle, kills it. And then every once in a while, that 1 out of 10th time I fish that spot, I can't get them to bite anything. So I'll come through with a slightly heavy, like 6 or 7 inch shaky head, or a big Senko, like a 6 or 7 inch Nico rigged. And I will literally power fish that through. Like I'll throw that shaky head in, I'll watch it fall, shimmy, 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 pause, nothing, burn it back, pick it apart. And I will go around that rock and I will hit it every 6 inches. So it's not like you're hitting the same spot multiple times from different angles, because then I feel like that you've slowed down too much. You're being way, way, way too picky about picking it apart. You're trying to identify it. But if it's one of those spots that's like, high probability of success, then that's where I want that finesse fishing that I'm still going to power fish through. Like I'm not going to sit there and wait forever and let that thing soak. Hell no. If he's not going to eat it on that first like 3 or 4 seconds, I'm out and I'm going to hit it from a slightly different position. That's why I like having the finesse in there specifically for those spots. Like everything about that spot is screaming. There's a fish there, but he's not touching any of this moving or big bulky shit. I got to follow up with something finesse really quick.
It's a really cool spot.
Yeah, and then there you go. We fish very different waters, just a different interpretation of power fishing. Absolutely right. But I like that you mentioned it so I could bring it up and elaborate on it from my perspective. Going back. Z20 heading to Champlain tonight with my grandson's Carter. Nice, dude. Have fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, no, not yet on Scott. Was it Andrew? Caught all my fish this past weekend on a jig and a chatterbait. Tried a few different colors, but was not but was most successful on green pumpkin and purple. I don't know what it's about that color right about now, but it is mint. We literally caught, for jackhammer and jigs on the 4 days where I was up on Champlain, straight green pumpkin on my jigs and green pumpkin with purple on my jackhammer. Spinnerbait, they were crushing the white and gold. Kind of interesting, but for jackhammer, I couldn't keep them off that green with purple. I forget what it's called, Brett Height Gill or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Brett Height Delight? I don't remember. No, that's not it. That's got like chartreuse in it or something. But you know what I'm talking about. Andrew, I couldn't get anything on a jackhammer, but got them on the Stealth Blade. I need to buy some of those. I still need them.
Joe has them.
Nice. Post-spawn. Summer on a largemouth lake. I agree with you, but you got to have a soft plastic to fish with D-bomb. Glad you brought that up. We were saving the soft plastic portion for someone very, very special.
I like that one.
I don't need to say a word about this because Andrew can wax most eloquent about the Flippin' Delight from Beast Coast Fishing. Because I 110% agree. If you're going to go through power fishing, you need a soft plastic to clean up with. Weighted Texas rig something.
Smells like cat piss and Fritos.
Sitting in the sun. Wax eloquent, sir.
This thing. I don't even know where to begin. It's pretty. This is actually like, what is this meant for? Really, like
it's
punching
literally
bait, right?
a flipping bait.
A flipping bait. You're supposed to Texas rig and whatever.
Anything with it.
But you can literally do anything with it. I throw this thing 98% of the time I'm throwing this on a jig as a jig trailer. And it just catches fish. And it
it stinks.
Oh man.
It stinks real good.
It actually smells like very bad. But
do not leave this rigged up on a rod in your car with the windows up at this time of the year. You will deeply regret that.
And if you have cloth seats, it's even worse because it just sinks in and it does not go away. But I will cut this down when I'm fishing, power fishing, I guess. I mean, we kind of just power fish all year long anyway, don't we? Kind of. For the most part.
Well, it's
Not
it's one of
really.
those. We're really, really good with it. And we're very comfortable with it to help us identify like that most key pattern, and then like that's one of our biggest strengths. We can
Right.
power fish literally anything we've talked about and a ton that we haven't talked about yet. But the moment we figure out like what is the most effective for the best quality fish, we can both pick that thing up and just fish that literally nothing else the rest of the day. So we're really good at figuring out that pattern. So yeah, I mean you're right. We do a ton of power fishing because
This-
we're good at figuring out the bite.
This little soft plastic here, you can literally do anything with it. You can Texas rig it. I mean, if you wanted to, I'm sure you could drop shot it. I use it mostly for either jig trailers or on a chatterbait or jackhammer or bladed jig, whatever. Bladed jig, it works best if you rig it sideways. Do you have one rigged? You do not.
No, I do not. But by all means, feel free to rig it.
Sideways, like that. Sideways.
Perfecto.
But this thing, for largies, I mean largies and smallies, I'll cut it all the way down to the head. Get rid of this whole,
The whole rib
the
portion.
whole, pretty much the
Or-
whole rib portion up here. Can I do it? Do we
I don't
have
care. I
enough?
got a ton of these.
Right there.
He ruined it.
No, I made it better. This right here is what pretty much catches about, I'd say, 90% of the bass in the summer when we're fishing deep, or power fishing. Anyway, like literally anywhere. I can't even explain. This thing is so I can't even.
There is no end to its effectiveness.
No,
You
there
can
isn't.
do it on
You can literally
anything.
do anything with this thing. Anything. Carolina rig. Oh God.
Dude, we killed them last year on that in a Carolina rig. It was phenomenal.
I mean, power fishing a Carolina rig is pretty much just swimming it back.
Yep.
And this thing with the action of its legs is ridiculous. Like it just works. It flat out works. If you guys haven't had any sort of Beast Coast stuff yet, it is a little pricey because most of it, all the jigs and stuff are mostly tungsten, and tungsten price
so
of tungsten
worth
is
it.
kind of through the roof. But it is what it is. You should absolutely go check out Beast Coast website and pick up some flippin' delights if you like fishing jigs, if you like fishing Texas rig. Shameless plug for him.
BeastCoastFishing.com. And you know what? It's not even that's a shameless plug. It's the fact that we've been fishing them almost for jigs exclusively.
Much.
With the exception every once in a while, we throw in a Gordy, we throw in a crazy hick bait.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to jigs like that, that's pretty much all we've been throwing for the last 5 years at this point. Well worth the money. He's got some of the best goddamn colors out there you can find. Plus, he's regionally local. He's based out of Connecticut, which is pretty freaking awesome. BeastCoastFishing.com. Pretty easy, straightforward. The other added benefit to that is you can find the vast majority of what they sell at Ben's Tackle Shack, which you can find at benstackleshack.com, or down at their actual physical location in Leicester, Mass, which is not too far to Worcester. And you go down there and see Ben or Dan, both the Kennys. So Ben, the owner and the son, Dan, the father. He's also the guy who runs all the, the New England Fishing Expo, the Northeast Swimbait Expo, the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. He does all of those. And their store is phenomenal. So you can always go down there if you want to get something in person, take a look at any of this in person, get it in hand. While you're there, you can buy a bunch of other stuff too. So there's that. But I like the fact, DJ, we will get you up here down here to talk punching, because that's something we should be talking about very, very soon.
Oh,
That'd be a good topic. I
punching.
did see.
I'm excited for that.
This one from John. Do you fish the Connecticut River at all? If so, do you like it? Yes, and
Yes,
yes.
and yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Double yes.
it's not bad.
It's
a lot of fish in that river.
It's stupid. It's so stupid. Andrew, those are amazing. I started using them because of you guys on the back of my jig. They definitely stink real good. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one I saw from Kevin. Do you peg your weight when Texas rigging something like a flippin' delight? Depends. I don't know. I would say
Depends
more
on
often
what
than
I'm
not, no.
fishing. I mean, if I'm fishing thicker grass that I'm not actually punching, yeah, probably. If I'm punching with a 2-ounce tungsten weight, probably not gonna do that because it's just gonna pull it through anyway. So probably, You do you, boo.
Right. Specific to power fishing, yeah, because then I can cover water a lot faster and I can
True.
pick apart really thick vegetation with extreme precision and do it efficiently. Just in general, more often than not, no, I do not peg it. Going through. Oh, hey, Ryan. Thanks for joining. Alec, best trailer in the market, hands down. So versatile. Was smacking them on it today. That's awesome. I'm still. Oh, wait. I did see something from Mark, Northeast Bass Fishing. There it is. The fluke bite has really started picking up for me now that I have put the jerk baits away for the most part. I will tell you, if you are in an area, a body of water, that you kill it with jerk baits, and as soon as that like post spawn period hits, like I would say 2-ish, 3-ish weeks after all the beds have vacated, throw a weightless Texas rig fluke the same way you would throw a jerk bait, but stupid shallow and in any of the vegetation, especially like all the lily pads, and especially as you get really close to all the bluegill spawning. Oh my God. Some of the most fun you can have. I'll throw it on my jig rod because I have 5 jig rods now, and one of them is kind of like it's for 3/8 ounce or lower, and the vast majority of the time I'm throwing the open water sniper on that or the hustler, but it also doubles as like a heavy duty Texas rig rod for me in the sense of like weightless Texas rig rod, heavy duty application. So weightless T-rig fluke up in thick vegetation. That rod is supple enough that I can sling, even like a Zoom super fluke, or just a Zoom fluke in general, weightless, and I can bomb that thing even on 15-pound line, but then I've got backbone to horse them out of that cover. So, food for thought. Did see... David, Flippin' Delight, D-Bomb, Rage Bug, Z-Craw, all our money. Yeah, that's a freaking absolute money list. Like, those are literally everything that we have in the boat all the time. Maybe except for the Z-Craw. That one we don't have that often.
No, I don't really ever throw the Z-Craw.
And then, Gordy, do you fish them weightless or always with weight? If you're talking about the Flippin' Delight, always with weight. I don't think I've ever fished it weightless.
I haven't fished it weightless.
Unless it's in the back of the Carolina rig. Which
I don't really see a need to fish it weightless, because if I was going to, I'd throw something different.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's a flipping bait. You should be throwing it with something with some weight. Go looking for a reaction bite. Really.
Truth. East Coast Bassin. Hey, friend. Thanks for joining. David, peg thick weeds or wood, anything else? No. See, I like that. South Jersey. You guys ever use the DRT VTS 5s and 7s? They really do offer some versatility. The heavy salt seems the best swim-wise because they don't rise and allow you to straight retrieve them like a swimmer. Oh, no momento, por favor.
Pizza?
No. Scusi.
Wait, you have some?
Somewhere. I swear to God, they're like right here.
Have I thrown them? I don't think I have.
You haven't. I have. And I've thrown them in some really strange applications. But for the life of me, I don't remember where I put them. Whoops.
You just hit the...
It's fine. It's not going to change. Ah, sorry. Damn it.
How the hell? Oh, come... It changed.
All right, HDMI 1. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, no, you...
Hold on.
That's my bad. The plus side, this doesn't impact you guys whatsoever. It's just what we see on our end. So I don't have them handy. I don't know where they are. I do have them.
Oh, those ones.
But I do have these, which are not really what he was talking about. But on that topic, these things are dope. DRT Cramp Shad Fat 4.5 inch. These things are cool. Unfortunately, with the packaging, it's really hard to see, but... These are cool. And that is all I will say. You make your decisions based on that. They're really cool.
You do you, boo.
You do you, boo. Oh, Dan, hey, thanks for joining, Fran.
Sick.
And I did see... Oh, okay, so there's that. 3D fishing. How about my other top summer power bait, the buzz bait? So many people forget to toss that. We did bring that up earlier, right before you jumped in. 110%. That's one of my go-to topwaters, actually. I'm always going to be covering that. If I'm going topwater, power fishing, buzzbait's my number 1, and then kind of like a big spook that I can work fast is my number 2. I really just like throwing those things. Whopper plopper, still really good too. But I don't know. I still like a buzzbait over a whopper plopper. Maybe I'm traditional. I don't know.
I don't ever throw the wall. I've caught one fish on the wall, maybe two. I haven't really fished it that much. My first fish on it was a 4 3/4 though. Out of mine's fault. Dude, it hit it so hard.
Scott, what size hook of Texas rig? If you're asking about a fluke, I like either a 3/0 or a 4/0, extra wide gap, and I think it's the Superline version. It's the much thicker, or maybe it's the heavy cover. I forget. Like you have your traditional gauge thickness on all of your hooks, and then there's the one from like Gamakatsu specifically that's like a thick old girl. That one. And I will. It depends on what fluke I'm throwing, and I will use that either the 3/0 or the 4/0. But either way, I'm going with that heavy gauge hook, and even sometimes a 5/0, depending upon how much I want to sink. Because I don't throw a bullet weight on it. I just want the weight of the hook to be what is driving that down. And even, a thicker gauge 3/0 extra wide gap hook is enough to even pull down like the Yamamoto D-Shad. I forget what their flukes are all of a sudden at the top of my head, but like those are kind of my go-tos. And those are phenomenal. And the 3/0 extra wide gap, thicker gauge, like the Superline, that typically does really, really well. But sometimes if I want to work a little faster and keep it down a little bit lower, I'll even go all the way up to a 5/0 on that same thing, which is pretty awesome. South Jersey, the fat cramp shads are dope. I just got 2 packs of those recently. Super versatile paddle tail. No, I'm not going to elaborate. You guys have to figure out for yourself. There's some things I like to keep for myself. You're lucky I showed it because I've been keeping that in my back pocket for 2 years. That's the first time I've ever even talked about having those. So you're welcome.
You have had them for a while.
I have had them for a long while now. And I have thrown them a number of different ways. Success isn't quite there yet, but I do feel like that I have kind of figured it out at this point. So the next trip. Jesus, how many of those did you knock off over there?
Oh, wow.
It's a big empty spot.
A whole lot of
on
them.
my big board wall. Oh,
Whoops.
God. Oh, wait. Brian, what do you think of Dennis Hart's 6.24 smallmouth? So, Dennis and I are really good friends, and he texted me that like right after he got it. And I was like, congrats. F you. We've both been chasing a 6-pound smallie for our whole lives. And that's like his 3rd or 4th one he's ever stuck, which is insane. Thing was stupid. Thing was stupid.
It was big. That's a big fish.
Yeah. All right, one more question on this, and then we got to switch to smallmouth because I want to make sure we cover that before we hit the hour mark at the very least. South Jersey, what kind of wakes are going to be using right now? Rats exclusively, or do you like more gill and shad profile wakes in summertime?
Well, I just got a Sherpa, so I'm going to throw that for sure. The BBZ Rat 50, the big one, is always going to be with me if I'm going night fishing or if I'm planning on doing some sort of wake fishing. And I think that's all I have. I don't really throw glides. Wakes, I throw glides. I don't really throw wakes that often, but when I do, it's always fun.
Yeah,
I got some crawlers I got to use this year.
Mm-hmm.
I got that one wake to throw, and I got a whole bunch of glides and big soft body plastics I got to throw this year.
So for my part, to answer that, I think it's far less about, I guess, the profile, if you will, for like rat versus gill, and just more about the knock. Because collectively, I think we have 10 different like garage build type wake baits of some kind, plus a Spro, and there might be another one that's kind of like that cheaper, more mass produced range. But like I've got a bull wake, we've got an LFOD monk.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got
I forgot about that.
Sherpas, Psycho Gills. I've got a Pats. Like, I could go through the list, but you get my point, right? Like, we have got a variety of profiles, sizes, colors, the whole 9 yards. 99 times out of 100, it's about the knock. Everything else just doesn't seem to matter. And this, granted, this is specifically in like low light and nighttime conditions. It's all about the knock. There's been some times where the only thing we can get bit on is that rat, because that is the loudest knocking bait that we have very, very closely followed by the LFOD monk, which is, I would say it's
too.
equally as loud, but it's a different loud. Like it's more like a clacky kind of knock on the Spro versus the monk is more like a bassy kind of clunk, like clunk, 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 versus the rat's horn was like clack, 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 but not really a clack. I can't do the noises, obviously, but you understand what it is we're trying to talk about. So that's really, to me, the more deciding factor when you're trying to decide on topwater. But enough about largemouth. We need to cover smallmouth power fishing because that is something we didn't cover. So, what are your go-tos?
For what?
Power fishing for smallmouth. Covering water. So top, middle water column, bottom.
Top?
Yep. Start with the top.
I don't ever fish topwater for
I know you don't.
smallies. But if I would have to choose, it'd have to be
The brain. I don't know the answer.
probably some sort of popper or like a spook. Mid. There's a whole bunch. Mid, I love spy baits. I love Okashira screw heads. I love A-rigs. I love now starting to like them again. Haven't caught anything on it yet. I'm really starting to like these again. Pretty much any sort of just swim bait, really, that I can swim in the column, like anywhere in the water column.
Don't look at the chat. I see the answer in the
can't.
chat, and I'm waiting for you to tell me the other thing that you really love throwing when you're trying to cover for smallmouth. Power fishing for smallmouth, more often than not,
What
is kind
is
of
it?
like
I can't look at the chat. This is bullshit.
What did you catch that donkey on last year that you loved throwing so much? That donkey smallmouth.
Okashira. Wasn't it?
Yes.
I said that.
Oh, my bad. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't. I'm sorry. I saw Demiki rig in there, and the funny thing is, like, I read Demiki, and my brain was like, yeah, Okashira. Despite the fact it said Demiki.
And jerk baits. And, dude, I could go on forever of all the stuff that I like to throw, like suspended smallies. There's so many. And bottom, jig, tube. I hate to say it, drop shot, but
No, you don't have to.
this year,
I love drop
it's coming back because I haven't
love
fished in like the
drop
last like 4 years. But
underrated, underappreciated now. I mean, people like the Ned rig.
I say jig, tube, drop shot.
Yep.
Ned-ish rig once in a great while. I'll throw it.
Heavy Ned.
Square bill, up shallow.
It's so close that time.
I don't know. There's so many. Everything. Literally everything. They'll eat anything. They don't give a shit.
You're not wrong. If I had to give you a very specific list for myself, we're talking power fishing for smallmouth. If I'm going to start top water, working my way down to the bottom. Top water, going to spook. And this is actually Mr. Tightline's special paint right there. I just still got to get hooks on it, but I've been saving it. And it's about time to start throwing this big old bastard. It's not even that big, but I'm ready.
Oh,
White belly,
I forgot.
real simple. Go ahead before I get too far. I've
For
only got
our-
one
for,
list.
For the wake baits, I got that big frog.
Chris Max
Chris Max.
from Chris Ellis, Mr.
yeah,
Tightlines.
yeah. So
I
I'm
got the
definitely-
Perchzilla too.
Definitely gonna throw that.
Although I haven't, the only reason I didn't bring it up is because I haven't thrown it enough in the set. Like I was trying to crank it down, but you can wake it. I was just trying to crank it down, so I don't know what it does in a knock yet. Like just slow waking on the surface. So didn't mention it. Okay, but sorry, back to me. Power fishing, smallmouth, topwater. I am gonna go with just a spook type bait, right? Just keep it real simple. I can work it fast. I will throw a small whopper plopper for them at times too. That has done very, very well for me, but I feel like the spook tends to do a little bit better. Because you're moving it, it's aggressive, and it's kind of fast, but relative to other topwaters, it's really not that fast, with the exception of a popper, right? So you've got that. Wow, that stream is way behind over there. And then if we go in middle of the water column, spinnerbait. If there's wind, and I know the smallmouth is friggin' shallow, spinnerbait's my friggin' go-to. I've literally had days where I have snapped multiple spinnerbaits in half because I've caught so many smallmouth, and because they hit it so damn hard. And it's right behind that, working the middle of the water column, I'm just going to throw a Kitech on the back of just a simple ball jig or swing jig head.
Yeah, those work great too.
or underspin. But that I typically say for when they're moving out deeper and like kind of truly suspended versus still in that like kind of middle of the water or shallower up in the water, like I don't know, 15 feet or shallower. And then on the bottom, my number one is a tube. As much as I love jig fishing, if I'm power fishing for smallmouth, I will throw a tube. And I'll work it pretty fast. And honestly, I will have 2 tied on. I'll have one on a spinning rod, which is usually 3/16 ounce. If there's a little chop, I'll go to a 1/4 ounce. And then I'll throw another one. I'll literally take a 3/8 ounce football jig and I'll stuff that in a tube and I'll throw it on my jig rod. And I will beat the piss out of that.
Looks like a goby.
It's so much fun. Another, I just saw it. Donk Swampy, thank you for saying it. For smallmouth, I'm covering bottom hard. Again, so tube. For a jig, I'm going to throw the open water sniper. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, that's going to be my go-to. And I like the MB versions with the lower strand count. If I have something else that works, like I think will work, I'll just pull some of those strands out or I'll cut them to decrease the overall count from the 44 strand down to, like, say, 30. And that has worked really well for us, too. But wobblehead, I will throw something like the Beast Coast Flippin' Delight or a Strike King Rage Bug or literally any other bait similar to that, like an old Sweet Beaver or whatever the hell they're called, on a wobblehead. And I'll throw just like a 1/4 ounce wobblehead. And you can basically like swim that along the bottom and it works exceptionally well. If you can figure out a way to get like, no, I'm not going to tell you that. Anyway, so there is a number of different ways that you can work different baits onto a unique wobblehead is the most I will say. And it is stupid good. But I need to keep that for myself because I can't elaborate anymore. I brought the idea to you 3 years ago, and I have been using it off and on, and it just works, and it works really well. And the modified version I have created is even better.
Do I know about this?
We've talked about it a time or two. But it's one of those, because we've been fishing largemouth so hard the last 2 years, like I really haven't, like I can see what I'm talking about, bottom left.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the other part of the component. It's good. So anyway.
Sorry. Can't tell you that one.
So there's all of that. So wobblehead was another big one. Obviously jig. Still a drop shot. I can power fish a drop shot real fast. 3/8 ounce weight more often than not. Sometimes I go to a 1/2 ounce, and if they're a little bit deeper, and I'll let that thing hit the bottom, and I'm basically power dragging that thing. It's not sitting still. Like as I'm dragging, I'm shimmying. So like drag, shimmy, 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 pause, drag, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. But like I say pause, it's like like it's barely a pause, like California roll, stop sign.
Yeah.
You're really still technically moving, even though you've also technically stopped. And like that's it, man. For smallmouth, it's a much more simplified approach when I'm talking about power fishing, but it allows the two of us to really adequately cover water. And the added benefit, too, that makes us so successful when we fish together, literally anything we've mentioned, up until 2 years ago, there would have been an exception on the jerkbait. But now, literally anything we've mentioned is all fair game for us. And we have our preferences, and that's usually kind of what dictates how we're going to go. And sometimes even conditions kind of dictate what ends up being our preference for what we're going to start with when we're straight up power fishing. You know, there's some days, like, I would love to start with a jig or a jackhammer or a spinnerbait. But, you know, then there's days where, you know, this is starting to become part of the fishing repertoire, bigger swim bait. And I know that's going to be the first, he's going to pick that up first. As much as I love it, I know that's going to be his first reach if the specific conditions in the day are kind of singing to us saying, hey, this is probably a really good idea today. Mm-hmm. He's going to get it first. And then I will follow up with something else a lot more traditional and vice versa. So, I mean, that's smallmouth in a nutshell. But by all means, throw the questions at us because I want to hear it. Oh, Alec, you're a champ. Don't sleep on the Pop Max for Topwater. Super versatile. Fish like it. Fish it like a traditional popper, or it walks amazingly well. You're the one that bought us all Pop Maxes. Mm-hmm. And they are phenomenal.
Yes, they are.
You did a lot better than I did.
I haven't got a single fish on it. Because I never
That's
threw
a lie.
it.
The Pop Max?
Yeah, no, I never threw it.
Yes, you did. Dude, it was in that cup holder.
Yeah,
That
I know.
Megabass Pop
I
Max.
know it was in the cup holder because I wasn't catching anything on it, so I put it there.
Right. Kevin Joy, what is your cadence for spy baits? He
That
fishes it more than me.
it all depends on where they're suspended, or if they're super shallow. Like if they're super shallow, pushed up on the bank, and it's all like a flat kind of rocky kind of area where where smallmouth hang out shallow. I'll throw that thing up and start burning it back at like a pretty decent pace, kind of like how you would work a chatterbait. If I'm fishing suspended fish with them, I will figure out where they're suspending and the area where they're suspending, and I'll count it down. I'll drop it straight down to find out how many seconds it takes for that bait to fall down to where they're sitting in the water column by using 2D sonar. Reel back up, toss it out, count it down, letting line out as I go so it falls straight down so you get the most amount of retrieval as possible. Or is that how you say that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
and then
spam crap is coming in.
I just slow roll it. Just slow roll it. You don't really, unless you see fish like on the surface kind of busting, I haven't had to really tweak my cadence that much. It's usually just a slow roll and they'll come up and just hammer it. That's my cadence.
What he said.
Yes.
I don't fish them often enough, so I got no skin in this game. Jerry, Pompadour, been slaying bass here in Southern Mass. I have several Pompadours and I really like them. They're good. But I feel like I gotta fish them a little too slow. So I didn't want to bring it up. But I do have them. I've done fairly well with them, especially smallmouth. They really like it, but it's a slower, more methodical method to it. Oh, Mark, I caught my first frog fish of the season last Thursday in Vermont. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Our buddy there, John Mango, has been texting me a ton the last week, but he's down like in the Cape Cod area, and he has been freaking crushing them on a frog the last week. He's got 3 over 5 pounds in like the last week and a half. I think he's got a 6 in that mix too.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's been doing really well. I'm trying to think what other honorable mentions. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, I guess, specifically how we go about deciding like our initial approach to power fishing. And I feel like that has to be, I'm trying to think of like specific hypothetical situations, right? And not necessarily hypothetical, but actually situations we've been in the past where it's like, oh, given these conditions, I am 110% starting with this. Like an easy give, right, is if the wind's blowing hard, and especially if you're there like by day 2 of consistent wind, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a spinnerbait, swim jig with a swim jig with a swim bait for the trailer, and a jackhammer. And honestly, now this becomes part of the mix. Big body swim bait. I'm going to go to the best looking wind-blown shoreline, and I'm going to park my ass there for 2 hours, and I'm going to beat the crap out of every single square inch of that shore. Because they're probably going to be fired up on it. It's going to be amazing. If we're out, say, now we're definitely post-spawn. I would even dare say we are past the bluegill spawn at this point, right? So kind of any man's game, and like typical kettle ponds, so you got a lot of shallow water, right? So I really don't have deep water to escape to. But now you got rain in the mix. I'm going topwater first. I'm going to throw a buzzbait. And I'm going to pick everything apart. But what about you? If you're like, we'll say early summer, spawn is well done, bluegills are wrapped up, it's been hot, and all of a sudden you get a nice overcast, like no wind, just rainy day. Not downpouring, just a typical good old summer rain. Yeah. But how are you fishing?
Or glide. And I'm throwing this thing into the thick.
Into the thick of it?
Into the thick of it. Into the thickest, nastiest. But it's got to be deep under it. Doesn't have to be, but I like to, when I'm fishing this in like pads and grass or whatever, I like to be able to actually bring it through the grass and not have it get caught up. So that kind of like, how do I say this? Start over. This. All the time. I like to use this thing and drop it into the pads where there's like 3 to 4 feet below it, if not more. And let it sit down to the bottom, drag it across the bottom, pop it up, bring it back up, and let it swim back down. And then do a little drag and do the same thing. What the fuck are you doing?
Being a child, sorry.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, you probably can't even see this thing, but this thing's been eaten so many damn times. Or is this just that one fish?
That's just that one fish.
Oh, okay.
That's 6'10".
Oh, I folded it up. That's
why. Yeah. She had the whole thing.
Well, she bit it here first, and then did that. That's crazy. Sorry. But yeah, that's rainy, warm day. I'll throw the Citizen. I'll throw my glides. I'll throw a chatterbait. Sometimes spinnerbait, but there's no wind, which sometimes it doesn't really matter.
If it's raining, I'm throwing a spinnerbait still. Anything to create disturbance on the surface, like especially post-spawn, the water's warm.
Yeah,
If
true.
the bait fish are up shallow, I'm throwing a spinnerbait.
Frog.
Well, and oh yeah. Well, the thing I like about a spinnerbait too is like that's traditional power fishing to me. You can cover a lot of water, but unless it's like absurdly thick vegetation, like moderate vegetation and less is great for it. If there's timber, it's my favorite thing to do. Pitching a spinnerbait around like a, like not like a beaver den, right? Like that might be a little too much. But if you've got like one good tree that's down with just a few branches left, like that's my favorite thing to do. I'll pitch a spinnerbait right up in there, let it sink a little bit, and I'll roll it up over all those little stubs. I'll let it sink down, and it just kind of deflects all the way through. One of my favorite things to do, and I have done exceptionally well doing that for largemouth, even on dead slick calm days, but overcast, a little bit of sprinkle going on, dude, just about unstoppable. It's phenomenal.
If you're fishing one of
You
these,
don't get hung up.
one of these things in the pads, and you don't get bit pretty much right after it hits the bottom, like 3 to 5 seconds after it hits the bottom, you can just reel it in and recast it. I mean, I'd have to say 80% of my bites. Yeah, fish it like a jig. That's pretty much how I fish this thing. I don't even think I've caught a fish on this while swimming it. I don't even think I've been bit. No, I've been bit while swimming it once. But everything else is when it's been on the bottom. I caught those 3 fish back to back to back on this thing.
Working a rock pile.
Where
Working like a
one
jig.
was in a rock, turned around, cast to the middle of the lake, let it sink to the bottom, got absolutely demolished, cast back out, got hit, cast back out, and got another fish out in the middle. Not moving it.
Yep.
And it's just, I just like the way it, I can't speak English. That's the best of it. Fish the damn things. Buy them and fish them.
I did see some more comments I want to get to. Anthony, not sure if anybody asked the question. What's the thoughts on this weekend for fishing with the massive cool down? Dude, it entirely depends upon where you are in relation to the height of the spawn. Like, where we were in Vermont, they're just going to be stacked on beds. So it's not going to matter. I'm not even sure it's going to pull any of them off because it's not going to cool down that much. I mean, it's a massive cool down from the heat we're going to hit tomorrow and Friday, but it's just kind of come back down to like optimal temperatures. I mean, generally speaking, period, I don't think it's going to have an impact at all. If anything, I think you did say it a little bit lower. Oh yeah, right there. I will highlight that as I say it. I'm thinking it could be oddly good. Said it perfectly. I think
so. With how hot it's been and it's going to drop temp a little bit, it's just going to bring them back down to that feeding temp where they're just going to be fired up.
Well, especially after like all this sun, all of a sudden you provide a little bit of you introduce a little bit of drizzle, or if we get a good amount of rain, so everything's going to be washed. Whatever's all around the shoreline is going to be washing in.
Pond in my head for the last 20 minutes. I want to go to so bad.
Is the one we were talking about the other day? Begins with a B.
No, it's this place where I always catch fish on it.
Oh, down the road.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Home base.
Along with everybody else. But no, I mean, it's one of my favorite places to fish in the rain.
It is my favorite place to fish in the rain.
I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really good. Dogbone, thanks for joining us while you're out there fishing. Hope you're hammering them. I did see a 3 and a 4 pounder, though, so that's good. You're on them. I did see one more question. Oh, there it was. Strut Nut Custom Calls. Rivers being cooler right now. Do you think they're still spawning or maybe in that transition period? I would say they're probably spawning, unless you're like really far north. But I would say probably spawning at this point. Looking. Ooh. Could be. And then there's that. No, we got everything. Wait. There was South Jersey. The fish were just getting fired up, but we do need rain. Not going to lie. Yeah, I mean, we had a phenomenal winter. We had a decent amount of rain leading into the fall. We did. Yeah, I mean, no, it's been a good year. Everything's pretty damn green up here, and everything's refilled, so it's good.
We had a lot of rain in the spring. Like,
yeah, we did.
Early spring, and then nothing.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet since then.
And then now there's fires in Canada.
Did you see the weather, the forecast for the next 5 days, though? Like, tomorrow's going to be hellishly hot. I mean, hellish. 96 was the last I saw. just for our town.
Cool.
And bluebird skies, it's going to suck. But then after that, it's going to fall back to the mid to upper 70s with rain pretty much at some point every day for at least the next 5 days. With the exception of Sunday. The further north and west we go. Doesn't matter. Matters for the GoPros. That makes things a little
We have
problematic,
FXR
but
rain
it's
gear. It
fine.
keeps us dry when you wear
Damn
it.
right it does. But yeah. You need to watch today's video. Speaking, you know what? All right, tell you, I think we've covered everything. I'm going to keep looking through here in the chat to see what's going on here. One of the things we really don't get a chance to do that, at least on this show specifically, that we need to do a lot better job of, is just a quick plug to our sponsors in the sense of like we have discount codes that we post about, and you guys are welcome to use. There is no limit to them. There's no restrictions other than you can't stack them. And in one specific case, it is literally so good we can't post it. I'm not saying that to make it sound like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. No, we literally, legally cannot post it because it's too damn good.
And it was in our contract that we were not allowed to post it. But we can tell you
That we have it.
that we have it.
And we can share it to anybody. We cannot publicly post it.
Right.
Per our legally binding
What if this
contract.
is a private stream, though?
I still don't think that flies. So, but at any rate, I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm not saying that to I don't know, be like cryptic or whatever. I don't know how else to put this other than I'm trying to be as genuinely honest with you as I possibly can. We have discount codes. If you guys are interested, like it's down in the video descriptions. We post about it almost in pretty much every Instagram and Facebook post. I mean, I post Instagram, it posts to Facebook for me, so it's one and the same. But, if you go to waterlandco.com, you use code Reel Northern, you get 15% off there. If you want something from FXR Pro Fish, please reach out to me. I don't care where you reach out to, I can send you the code. We have a code that will get you an obscene discount code to the point where I promise you that it is better than what a lot of other companies give to their, pro staffers. It's really, really good. It's good. It's stupid good.
And pro staffers only get about 15 to 20% off.
It's dumb. So if you're interested, by all means, at any point, even if you just have questions about anything we always ever talk about, reach out to me. I have been a little bit behind on getting back to some messages, but I do respond to everybody. There is not a single person I've left unread. That's a lie. There's 2 people, but that was intentional, for not great reasons on their part. But point still stands. As long as you're not a dick, I'm going to respond to you. So, I don't know what the hell our plan is this weekend. I got some motor issues we got to try and kind of iron out because then we have the Plunder Bay open, which I really hope we're going to be able to make. Depends on what's going on with the motor. I'd like to get that resolved as quickly as I can. I might just go buy a new boat and just be done with it. Not even kidding. I found a boat that I could go buy today.
XR?
It was a 2016 FX20. Skeeter FX20.
You're only going up 6 inches, though.
No,
3.
from the no. For that, it's a full foot. From the ZX200 to an FX20,
I'd wait.
because mine's a 19 and a half, and the FX20 is 20 and a half.
I would wait.
I am going to wait because I want a 21.
Yeah. Don't short.
However,
yourself.
the idea of those FX20s with, I'd rather have the FXR. It's nicer, but those FX20s with the 250, those things scream.
Oh, yeah.
Turny loaded, dude, we'll still be able to touch turny loaded, like the way we have it loaded up, we'd still probably be in the low 70s, if not a little faster. Actually, probably be in the upper 70s.
No.
For the FX, the 20-footer?
Probably mid-70s.
You sure? I know DJ's Phoenix 721 Pro XP.
That's a Phoenix.
Shut up. His is turny loaded. He's still doing 80.
By himself.
No, that's with the passenger. Okay, upper 70s with the passenger. So with a full less foot and a slightly narrower beam on the Skeeter, I think turning loaded, we'd still be able to do upper 70s. Yeah, probably mid to upper 70s. Somebody in here's probably got the boat. They'll be able to tell me. Anyway, I digress. I'm boat shopping. I'm so excited. Oh, man.
Ryan, I would love that, but I don't know if I want an aluminum anymore. Working on them sucks.
No, I don't want a Lund. Brian, as much as I love that boat, I don't want an aluminum. I want to. Wait. Oh, see, we got one message from Tammy. Yes, Tammy, we can share you that FXR code, and I will happily do that after the stream. Oh, yeah, Alec, you should.
Yeah,
That thing's awesome.
Alec, buy Ryan's boat. Thing's sick. It's a nice boat. TJ's got one too, and they're freaking
Oh
amazing.
my God.
I just don't want to work on an aluminum boat. I don't want to own my aluminum. I do on an aluminum boat still, but I don't know.
It's got to be the right boat.
It's got to be the right one.
Your list is narrowed extraordinarily.
Yeah.
I would be happy with any of these.
I know 621 foot
after-
champion. It's not that new.
1 week
it should
after
be
Bass
cheap.
Fishing Electronics, I want exactly just this boat.
This boat with Raptors. Live scope.
Drink's empty. End of the stream right there.
Not live scope. Active target 2. No. Panoptics. With a cornfield. And a ghost. And 3 12s and a 16 at the dash.
So you know what the beauty of this Skeeter FX20 I found was?
I have no idea.
It already had it had an Ultrex, but easy fix, but it already had Mega 360 on it with Panoptics and the cornfield turret.
What's that for mapping?
2 Lowrances. I like Lowrance.
Yeah, same, but
But if I'm going to have the Mega 360 on there anyway, I can still add Lake Master.
let's do both.
And it was dual console. The only thing was the whole thing was 100% white, but we already figured out that problem anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, this boat was $25,000 cheaper than the one I'm currently looking at. Well, I was like, hey, to my wife, like, how about instead of waiting until this fall, I get one now? She's like, you said you wait till the fall. I'm like, okay, let me put it this way. The boat I'm looking at now is $25,000 less than the boat I want to buy in the fall. She's like, maybe we're looking now. It's all about your options and perspective. Work them angles. Tell you what, this was fun. I think this is kind of the beauty of this conversation was there was like a lot to talk about very little, right? Like power fishing is pretty straightforward, but you know, what does that mean? And how do we specifically approach that for this region and how we would tackle that? And I think we did a pretty good job with that.
Yes.
But by all means, for anybody that wants to know anything from FXR for a code, email me, 603bass@gmail.com. You can hit us on DMs, on Facebook, through Messenger, through the Reel Nothern Bass page, through Instagram. Like, I don't care. If you send it to me, I'm going to get it, and I will respond and let you know. Other than that, thank you all very much for watching.
Find me on Footfinder.
Go watch the Lake Champlain Day 3 video, please. I put a lot. No joke, I think that video took me over 20 hours of editing.
I believe it. It's a really good video. You guys should actually go watch it.
Hey, thanks. Worked really hard on it. Okay, it's your turn. Kill it. Do your thing.
We will see you guys next week, like always, like every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/ was it at Reel Northern? I always forget. At Reel Northern. 2 E's, like a fishing reel.
Reel Northern
Bass.com.
Bass. There you go.
ReelNorthernBass.com.
There's no .com.
.com.
You're reaching deep into the memory bank for that commercial. Holy crap.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next week. We love you and adios. See you next Wednesday.
Have a wonderful night, everybody.